So we're going to quickly create some old metal textures here. Sometimes you don't have time to get into all of the details, but you need something to look good, and you need it to be done fast. So we're just going to do that quickly. And I've Googled some different types of metals here, and we're just going to go through each one of those, and we're going to keep this short. Now, what you need to do if you're looking for any material is you need to look. If I have a reference image of what you're going for and what it looks like, and then you need to have the textures which you're going to work with. So if I click on images here, I've Googled old brass. So reference image would be something like this or this. Okay, so those are our references. And now we need some maps to work with. So let's take a look, see what we can use. We could use this. Use any of these. Okay, you can also Google brass texture. Okay, we can use this one. Alright, we've got brass 1 and brass 2. So let's see what these look like. So we've got these two. And really the simplicity when I work in Max and I'm working fast is I really take this texture and drop it in here. And then I'm just going to make it so I can see what's going on here. I'll put it into reflection. Assign it to here. And double click on the material. Get the diffuse, make this black. Turn off Fresnel. Take this glossiness down a bit. And we're going to plug this actually into glossiness. And then what we'll do is we'll get a color correction in. I only want it to be a bit more glossy than that, so let's get a color correction in here. Maps general, color correction is right there. And just drop this in. Now realize, I take a lot more care in creating this, but I'm just trying to get this done fast. And trying to make this work. Let's put it into the bump as well and reduce that down to 2. And I'm going to reduce this blur basically. If I click render now, okay, that's the old brass as we have it. So I'm just going to increase this, like push this up to about 4. And then let's try that again. Okay, so if we put the bump on here, and we set this up at 5, you can see that everything is being blurred. Just save that out. Then if you set this back at 1 and render, you can immediately see that you're getting more detail in there. Okay. So what you need is you need that detail, but you don't want this artifacts occurring because of the blur. So we're going to have to take this and just make a duplicate, plug that into the bump. This one can come down lower than 1 and go down to 0.1 or even 0.01. But then for the bump, we can push this up, make this 3. And then when you render it, you'll see the detail, but you won't have that weird bump effect going on. And you can see how far down you can reduce the noise on the bump until that starts coming in. We saw it at 1, so let's try 2. Okay, you can see it start to come in here on 2. So we'll leave that blur at 3. And that's quick and dirty brass. For the next one, we're going to do aged copper. If you just Google copper, aged copper, antique copper, anything like this, you can click on images, see what you get. We need a reference image for copper. So let's take a look, something like that. Perfect. So that's what we're looking for. An old copper, antique copper, but we don't want it really tarnished. So we'll come in here, reference images, and we'll just call this copper bath. Right, so we need this tarnished data here. And to do that, we need an old copper image, something like that. Or that. Perfect. That'll be great. Let's go back to maps. Put that in there. And like I said before, when I'm in a rush and I don't have much time, I'm just creating these as quickly as I can because there's a lot more to do and there's clients waiting and so on and so forth. So again, we're going to come along here, just turn these on, make this diffuse black, push the reflection all the way up, turn off for now. Get this map in here, just drag, drop it, straight into reflection glossiness. That needs to be brighter in reflection glossiness. Come down here, general, color correction, chuck it in, advanced, try 5, great. Okay, let's just click on options, make sure propagate material to instances isn't on. All these balls are instances. I don't want this material going onto all of them. So we're going to do that. We're going to drag this again and we're going to put the same one into bump. And I'm just going to take this blur and put this at 3. Okay, and let's assign this there by clicking this button, assign material to selection. And do a short, quick render. Stop that there. Just a region here. Render. That's it. Fantastic. That will do. If I need to add more detail, I can, but I'm just trying to show you some quick and dirty renders here, quick and dirty materials. So the next one which we're going to take is old gold. Click on images again. Let's find a reference for this. You know, if you look at gold, there are many different types of old gold materials here. So we really just want something like these. And so what I'm going to do is just take this. Could take that. Let's see what else there is. It's a bit bright. The problem with this one is it's got white here, and I don't want white, I want a gold color. We've got this one which we can use. There's something I'm not so happy with about it, so we're just going to Google gold texture. And that's better, that's better. That's like gold leaf. So if we grab that, we just put that into maps. And let's call that gold. And just drag that map, put it in there. Again, we need another V-Ray material. So just up here under materials, double click V-Ray material. Again, open this up. Turn on show background in preview. Plug that into the reflection slot. Turn off Fresnel. Plug it into reflection glossiness. Make the diffuse here black. Click OK. Let's assign this to the third one here. And let's see what we have, what it looks like. It's looking pretty good. Again, I think I want to increase the glossiness here. I can increase the reflectivity. We'll have a look at that. If you come along here and you grab the general map and you just go color correction, again, drop it in there. You could also edit these in Photoshop, but I said I'm trying to do this quickly, and this is how I do it when I'm working fast. So as I push this up, it just gets whiter and whiter. And I don't really want that. It's really the gold color that I want. And this map is a pretty nice gold color going on. So I'm going to leave that directly into reflection. But I'm going to take this and put it into reflection glossiness. And I'm going to just push this up. So we get some lovely reflections going on there. And then I'm going to take a duplicate of this. And again, actually for this one, I'm going to just right click there on the blur, for the reflection and the reflection glossiness. You won't get those artifacts there. But here, if I put this into the bump, I'll then set this blur at 3. See if we can get rid of those artifacts. I mean, you can even see them here, right? If I go open preview window of this and bring it up, you can see them clearly there. And if I bring this up to 5, you can start to see them disappear. If I bring this blur up to 10, you can see them go almost completely. But I don't know if I want it up that high. Let's try 5. If it's down at 0.001, you'll see you get all of that noise starts coming in, you see? And that can be a problem. So even at 0.2, you still get a lot of noise. Even at 1, a lot of that will go, but a lot of it still remains. So as you come up, you start seeing that noise disappear. So we'll try this, and let's see how this looks. Actually, for the sake of this, I want to push up this reflective glossiness here. Let's try this at 10, and then let's render that. And you can see the details there going on. And if we look at our reference image, these aren't so glossy, so I'll probably bring that down again. Really, I was just more curious. That's definitely not glossy. There's not a lot of reflections that you can see. It's just blurry. These ones have no reflections. There's nothing there. It's just blurry again. So even though I like it, we'll bring that down. Let's bring it down to 3. That's still fairly high. And I'm going to put the blur on this one. I'm actually put this all the way up to 10. And that'll pretty much disappear. But I'm hoping you can see the blurriness here. And I'm hoping most of that will disappear in here too. Okay, it's still too glossy. So let's drop this down to 2. Let's try 1. Let's try 1.5. So that'll do. We've got 2 more materials here quickly to do. I've got antique bronze, which I googled. If you look for an image here, we've got something like this, something like this. These heads are pretty good. Okay, so we're going to go for this kind of texture. Probably not with this blackness. Maybe with that in. We'll take a look. We'll just call this bronze. We have this, which we might use. Oh, we have this one we found earlier. This bronze. Let's open the material editor. Let's get another V-Ray material. Double click here. Double click on this. Make the diffuse black. Turn off for now. Bring the reflections all the way up. Go to your reference images. Just bring in this bronze texture. Put that straight into the reflection slot. Let's put that straight into reflection glossiness. And let's assign this to the 4th one. And let's look at the previous window. Let's change this so we can see that. And let's render. Okay, so we want some more reflection going on here. So again, instead of creating a new map in Photoshop, I'm just going to come along and I'm going to go color correction, general, color correction, drop that in here. Advanced, push up the gamma to make it brighter. And if I want, I can do this as well. Like if I come in here and I think that needs more color, you can just come in here and click saturation and just increase this. And that'll change the color, and then you can change the hue if you want. You know, so you can make this color quite gold if you like. I'm gonna maybe increase the saturation slightly. I'm not gonna make anything purple. All right, let's see how this comes out. Fantastic. We'll just add in a bump to get some more details going on. So again, I'll take the same map and I'll put that straight into the bump. And let's right click on both of these and just see what we get. Yeah, complete mess. Open preview window. Now the blur here, the amount on the blur depends on the resolution of this map. If this map is very high resolution, you shouldn't have to worry too much about how low you go on this blur. You should be able to get much sharper lines without bringing in weird artifacts. kind of really want to go until these bumps disappear. And you can't really see 100% how this is going to look. But if we render this out, it should look nice. I'm just going to come in here and raise this up a bit higher. Let's try 3. Great. And let's take a look at the reference image. Okay, these are quite a bit darker brown. So I think what I need to do is, this has gone a bit gold, so let's desaturate this a bit more. Let's try again. That's much closer to the reference image here. So for this purpose, I think that will do. We could tweak it slightly to get it more accurate and more exactly along these lines, but that will do. So we've done 4 of them. We've got one last to do here, which is black steel. Okay, I've got these references for blackened steel, something like this, or that even. So if we use this as a reference, and we'll just recreate that. If you Google black steel reference, steel texture. Okay, great, we'll use this. Should also use that one. Okay, we'll use that and we'll get rid of a bunch of the color in it. So basically, just put a box over here. So again, we're going to do the same. We're going to grab materials, V-Ray material, bring it over, double click on it, make it so we can see the background so we know what's going on, make the diffuse black, and turn off Fresnel. And then we're just going to grab this map and drop it into the scene. Put it straight into the diffuse slot. Sorry, put it straight into the reflection slot. And reflection glossiness. And what we're going to do is just grab the color correction, and we'll just put this straight here in the reflection glossiness. And we're just going to bring this up. And I'm going to have another color correction going on here. There's too much color in there. This is, like we said before, this is bronze, and we want blackened steel. So we're just going to, actually I don't need to do that, but here we're going to take the saturation down. And let's try 10 on this gamma. And let's render this. Oh, I better assign it first. And let's render. It's looking pretty nice. Again, I still want to push this up. Let's try 20. Now we're just getting a lot of reflections, more than we had in the reference image. There wasn't a lot in that. There was quite a bit in here, but we're getting more than we need here. So let's bring this back down to 10, or 8 even. And let's push this up. Let's push this up to 5. No, maybe not. 2. Maybe 1.3. Okay, let's try that. I think what we have to do is bring this down in the reflection glossiness. Bring this down to 5. And then push this up to 2. And then render. Okay, that's looking pretty nice, but it's not coming out as nice as I was hoping. So I'm just going to double click on this map. Let's move this over so you can see what we're doing. I'm going to change this for the other one that we had. Let's try this one. And let's render that. Okay, again now, I think we're going to have to push this up to 10. I think we're getting there here. Let's take the same map. Let's reduce the blur. Let's render that. We're getting all the details, lovely details going in there. And then what we're going to do is just take this down. Actually, let's take this and this one down. Shift and drag, put that into bump, and take this and make this 3. And then let's render that. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so here we have brass and we have copper, we have gold, we have an old bronze, and we have an old weathered steel, an old blackened steel. So these are some fantastic textures. This is how I create them if I'm creating them quickly. You can create these with more realism if necessary. You can add fall-offs. You can go into use OSL in order to do it. There's a lot of extra data you can add in to these. You can add fingerprints and everything else, and we'll go into some of that in detail later on. But here I wanted to show you quickly how if you're pushed for time and you need to get the result quickly, you can get an awesome result in a very short space of time just by having a reference image and knowing what you're doing. I just want to check one thing. I'm just not so happy with that copper. There. That's what I'm expecting. And even though it's close, I don't really have this. And that copper bath. See, this has got too much pink in it. So let's take this. We'll bring a color correction in here. And we're just going to desaturate this slightly. And we might even push the brightness up. Let's just check this. Okay, for this purpose, I think that'll do. There could be further tweaks, but for getting these done quickly, that's good enough for me. So here we have brass, copper, gold, bronze, and blackened steel. Awesome.